5 minutes. That's all it took for Air France Flight 447 to vanish without a trace. What began as a routine flight turned into a nightmare of confusion, failing instruments, and deadly decisions. Inside a cockpit fighting an invisible, unstoppable storm in the dark. The aircraft glides smoothly above the vast Atlantic, calm and unaware of what lies ahead. Inside the cabin, everything feels normal, passengers relaxed, unaware of the danger approaching. In the cockpit, both pilots monitor instruments carefully as night slowly takes over the sky. The aircraft begins entering thicker clouds, the atmosphere subtly shifting. A slight flicker appears on the instruments, barely noticeable, but enough to raise concern. Ahead, a massive storm system grows, towering clouds filled with hidden danger. Turbulence begins to shake the cabin lightly, passengers exchanging uncertain glances. Inside the cockpit, autopilot remains engaged, but tension quietly builds. The aircraft disappears into the storm, surrounded by darkness and heavy rain. Suddenly, the instruments begin behaving strangely, numbers no longer stable. Confusion appears on the pilot's face as readings stop making sense. The cabin feels the growing force of turbulence, fear slowly spreading. Without warning, the autopilot disconnects, forcing immediate manual control. Outside, the storm intensifies, lightning flashing violently around the aircraft. Inside, the pilots react quickly, trying to understand what's going wrong. The airspeed readings fluctuate wildly, creating dangerous uncertainty. Passengers panic as the situation worsens, oxygen masks beginning to deploy. The cockpit fills with warning alerts as the pilots struggle to stabilize the aircraft. The plane becomes nearly invisible inside the storm, lost in chaos. Confusion peaks inside the cockpit as critical information becomes unreliable. A sharp alarm pierces the tension, the stall warning begins. Altitude rises unexpectedly while speed drops, a dangerous imbalance forming. The aircraft tilts upward slightly, fighting against violent air currents. The co-pilot reacts instinctively, pulling back, unaware of the worsening situation. Inside the cabin, chaos erupts as turbulence becomes extreme. Luggage shifts violently as emergency lighting casts eerie shadows. The stall warning continues relentlessly, adding to the confusion. Outside, the storm tightens its grip, surrounding the aircraft completely. The instrument panel shows dangerously low speed readings. Urgent communication fills the cockpit, but clarity is slipping away. Passengers cling to oxygen masks, fear fully taking over. Lightning briefly reveals the aircraft shaking uncontrollably. The cockpit becomes overwhelmed with alarms and flashing warnings. Suddenly, the aircraft begins losing altitude at an alarming rate. The pilots attempt to correct the descent, fighting the controls. Outside, the plane drops deeper into the storm, barely visible. Inside the cabin, panic intensifies as the descent continues. The pilots begin to realize the severity of the situation. A flash of lightning freezes the moment, everything feels out of control. The cockpit descends into chaos as systems continue to fail. The aircraft plunges faster, alarm screaming without pause. Altitude drops rapidly, leaving little time to recover. Outside, the plane falls through thick clouds toward the unseen ocean below. Inside, fear reaches its peak as passengers brace themselves. The pilots make a desperate attempt to regain control. Lightning illuminates the aircraft's unstable descent. Systems begin failing one after another inside the cockpit. A final look is exchanged between the pilots, silent understanding. The storm swallows the aircraft completely. A passenger grips tightly, preparing for the worst. The aircraft drops suddenly, violently shaking. Far below, the dark ocean waits beneath the storm. The sea rages under lightning, vast and unforgiving. Inside the cockpit, screens begin going dark. The aircraft continues its final descent, barely visible. Then suddenly, complete darkness fills the cockpit. Above the ocean, the storm continues, but the aircraft is gone. Only waves remain, crashing under flashes of lightning. The storm slowly begins to calm, leaving an eerie silence behind. Nothing remains in the sky, as if the aircraft never existed. If you're finding this story intense and meaningful, don't miss what comes next. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with others who love powerful real-life mysteries. Hit the bell icon so you never miss our next episode.